The story of Florence Nightingale. The value of compassion. Florence Nightingale was named after her birthplace, Florence, Italy. Almost a year, she returned with her family to England. Their house always full of friends and family. Florence could took care of children by inventing games and making sure they
take
didn't
care of 或者 look
after.
好
Look after children by inventing games and making sure they didn't get hurt. She also did whatever she could do to help injured horses or sick calves. She cared wounded birds until they can manage themselves. She cared for injured wounded birds until they can manage themselves. Her father reminded her not to let her compassionate heart to make her forget her lessons. Florence often helped her mother to deliver food to the poor around the estate. Her heart ached as the misery some of the lived. When she grew older, she visited them on her own, especially the sick. She wanted to make them well, so Florence decided to be a nurse. Her family was shocked because nursing was not a respected profession, but Florence determined and studied books on medicine. One day, she persuaded a doctor to show her around a London hospital. She was shocked as dirty and unclear patients, the filthy worse and beds and rats. Florence worked to change all of this. Florence knew she had much to learn about nursing, so she visited a hospital in France, Germany, and Ireland, and learned everything she could do. Upon returning home, she was an expert on hospital management. In 1853, Florence agreed to take over a small London hospital. Her biggest problem is finding good trained nurses, so she decided to train them herself. Soon, people began to study her methods of nursing, sanitation, and hospital organization. About a year later, British became involved in a war against Russia. London newspaper full of the terrible condition about wounded and sick were suffering. Sidney Herbert, a war secretary, asked Florence to help look after wounded and sick. Needless to say, Florence agreed to go. When Florence and nurses arrived in a British hospital in Scutari, modern-day Istanbul, they were horrified. The hospital left men lie on the floor, and the rats running everywhere. There was no running water and no heat. Many soldiers died before receiving help. In spite of shortage of staff, the doctors wouldn't listen to her. They didn't like the idea of women in the army hospital. Until one day, 500 unexpected casualties arrived. The doctors soon realized Florence knew what was she doing. She made change and arranged for the better sanitation. Above all, Florence made sure these men were washed and their injuries were cured. Every night she would walk through the woods with her lamp. Reporters, including famous London news reporter William Howard Russell, sometimes stayed in Scutari. His story made Florence famous throughout England. One day, Florence crossed the sea to the war-torn Crimea. While there, she became very ill, close to death. When the news spread, British soldiers everywhere was praying for her recovery. Finally, her fever broken. When she was strong enough, Florence was back at work. She returned home after the war. Florence was shocked that people recognized her. A fund even had been set up in her honor. Many soldiers she had nursed had made contributions. Now she can set up Nightingale Training School in London. After years' hard work, Florence Nightingale can see army was less crowded and soldiers' health improved. Hospital became clean and cheerful. Nursing became a respected professional. All of this is because the compassion of Lady with the Lamp.
营房
Barracks.